I'm sure you clicked on this video because you're considering starting a video business or maybe just a creative business in general. And I want to give you my top advice for starting your own business. Hey, I'm Kelsey. Welcome back to my channel. I have been in the video industry for nearly 10 years. I've done weddings, family films, corporate films, all sorts of things, and I've learned a lot along the way. So I wanted to share with you a couple things that I wish maybe someone had told me, or things that I feel like have really worked out on my business journey to get to where I am now. So the very first thing you want to do when you're thinking about starting a business is some market research. I actually really enjoy the process of starting a business, really. I enjoy the market research, finding out what other people are doing, how they're pricing, and what they're offering. It's super interesting to see how unique each business is and how you can really set it up how you want to define your success. And it's really good to know what your competition is doing and pricing wise. You don't want to undercut the market in general because you are pricing yourself too low because you have no idea what anyone's pricing and you're just throwing numbers out there. So even if you're not undercutting the market, you might be too far over in the market. Doing market research also really helps with figuring out where you're going to stand within the market. Like, what is your niche? What makes you different? And you don't necessarily have to have a niche, but you do want to have a defining statement that is, your elevator pitch. If you only had one sentence to tell somebody what you do, you know exactly what that is. And really that comes down to the fact that you can't make everybody happy. Someone's always going to dislike this, that, and the other, and someone's always going to love this, that, and the other. It's just human nature. You cannot be all things to all people. You have to kind of figure out, who your client is, what they're doing, and how you're going to connect with them. So one piece I want to give, especially in certain industries where pricing is not exactly always on a website, it's not so black and white, it's project-based or whatever, is not to fill out fake inquiries on competition's websites. Like, just reach out and ask to have a conversation with somebody about their pricing, where they started or where they are now. There's nothing more disappointing than getting an inquiry and, they're real people and we're so excited that we got this inquiry, and then we find out that you ghost us or never really were interested, you just wanted our pricing list. And I think if you're transparent about it, a lot of other people will be transparent about it, especially if you're new to the industry and you are looking for a mentor or someone to give you advice. Definitely be open and upfront about it. Don't be shady and doing backroom deals and trying to figure out, basically lying to get someone's pricing, because that's going to come back and kind of nip you in the butt. If there's someone that you really admire, reach out to them. The worst that they can say is, no, I don't want to talk to you. And that sucks. But, there's so many other people out there doing similar things that I'm sure will respond and they will help out. The next part of the process is actually another part that I really enjoy, and that's creating business plans. And when you're starting a creative business, you don't necessarily need one. Most business plans are made up for if you need financing, you're going to go to a bank to get a loan. They want to see how you're going to grow, how you're going to advertise yourself, how you're going to make money, how are you going to pay them back, basically. When it comes to a creative business where there isn't a huge overhead to get into it, you don't really need a business plan for somebody else. The business plan is for you and to show you your roadmap to your business. It's a great way to put in goals and deadlines and make sure that you are on track to reach those goals, or maybe you need to reevaluate. And with that, it also gives you like a clear direction as to what you're doing. Like I said before, you cannot be all things to all people. So having that clear direction and knowing where you're going and what you're providing and who your client is. All those things come up in a business plan. Your business plan can change as well over time. It's not something that's set in stone. One thing that I wish I had done earlier in my business is create systems. So systems like, what is going to happen after somebody books? What is going to happen if somebody doesn't pay on time? What is going to happen if someone never pays you? I did not figure this out until like year 4 or something, and it definitely is something I wish I had earlier because it would have made it a lot easier around year 4. One way to create these systems and implement them is to have a CRM. So I use HoneyBook for my CRM, and it's really great. I can organize my clients in their files. I can send contracts. They can make payments. It's all just in one place. I can make notes. All of our communication is in there. If I send them a questionnaire, it's all in there. It just makes everything super organized and super easy. So when I need something from that client, I can just jump in. And one of the best things about having a CRM is that you can set up automation and you can set up rules and things to happen behind the scenes. So you can kind of leave a little bit of that admin work out of what you're doing and focus it on actually doing what you want to do, whether it's making art or videos or photography or whatever. It's nice to have these emails just automatically go out and you don't have to think about it, you don't have to worry about it, and you get your answers that you need. So one example is, a wedding day would sneak up on me and I wouldn't have a timeline for that day. So I would be like, it's like Thursday or Friday and I'm scrambling to get one, and I feel terrible because I'm emailing the bride the night before her wedding, asking for a timeline. So now I have an automated email that goes out 1 week before the wedding. It says, send me your timeline, or have your planner send me your timeline so that I know what's going on and I can make sure I'm not holding anybody back. Also, if one of your goals is to scale your business and have employees at some point or other people in your business, it makes it a lot easier to hand things off. I don't personally have anybody working with me, but if I needed to hand something off to somebody, or if I needed to hire somebody to help me, it is a lot easier if I can just be like, hey, here's the login, here's all the things, good luck. Our next tip is about money. And I know people are kind of weird about money, and it's still something that I struggle with, a lot of people struggle with. So you're not like weird if you're like, I don't want to talk about money. It's just something you have to talk about in your business. And over the years, I've grown to be more confident figuring out pricing so you're not undercutting the market or you're not too far over. If you are freelancing, something you've been doing forever, obviously you can start at a higher price. If it's something you're new to, or you're just getting started out, you don't have much of a portfolio built up, it's always a good idea to, maybe be a little less expensive than your counterparts who have a lot of experience. But it's also important not to work for basically free. You still are spending your time and your talents on something, so you need to value that. So there's a formula for pricing, and I'm not going to get too in depth with it. Maybe I can do that in another video, but it boils down to your cost of business plus what you want to make in profits, and you divide that by how many sessions or pieces of art or embroidery patterns you want to be making every year. I primarily do weddings, so I'm going to use that as an example because it's really easy. So you take your cost of doing business, which is like paying second shooters, insurance, your music licensing, the maintenance for your equipment, basically those reoccurring costs that you're paying for every year. So let's say your cost of doing business is $10,000 for the year, and you want to make $50,000 for the year. So you add that together and you have $60,000 for the whole year. I only want to do 15 weddings a year. You divide that 60,000 divided by 15 and you get 4,000. Every session that you do, every wedding that you do has to be $4,000 or more in order for you to cover your cost of doing business and make that $50,000 in profit. So it's a really simple little formula. There are definitely nuances, especially like I do a ton of corporate stuff and I do branding stuff and I do photography for branding as well as video for branding. So like there's a lot of little things, but to give you an idea of where you should be, you can kind of re-engineer it and be like, okay, well, what if I only want to do 10 weddings a year? Well, now you're at $6,000 a wedding. And if you're just starting out, you're probably not going to be able to charge that. If you're a painter and you're making these hyper amazing things and people are willing to pay $6,000 and you only have to do 10 paintings a year, I mean, more power to you. But this is also a way that you can figure out how to make your creative business a side hustle into a full-time income, is deciding, you know, what am I going to charge? How hard am I going to have to work to reach that income goal in order to take this full-time? My final tip is a little more philosophical, and that's to have patience and discipline. You can't build anything overnight. I am notorious for being like, I have this great idea, I want it to happen right now, and it needs to be here at this moment. And that's not how it works. So you have to be consistent, you have to build on everything, you have to keep working towards those goals. And so having that business plan with your goals really helps. I'm sure you may have heard this before, but you know, those first clients that come to you and they are ready to maybe take a risk on you. I know that my first wedding clients, definitely, I hadn't even been to that many weddings by the time I started. So I'm sure they kind of took a chance on me, and, you know, treating those first clients like gold, you know, going above and beyond to make sure that they're happy, excited, and they're going to tell everybody about you. There's a lot of value in valuing those people. Also, remember, all businesses have their ups and downs. Nothing is ever perfect all the time. Working in the events industry, COVID really hit me hard. I maybe did 2 weddings in 2020, and then 2021 was still pretty slow. You kind of have to just go with the flow and go with your ups and downs and know that it's not always going to be terrible, but it's not always going to be super great either. And, you know, you have emotional up and downs when it comes to business, especially a creative business, because it seems so personal. If you're just starting on this business journey, I hope these things can help you get to your goals faster and learn a little bit more from somebody else. You're still going to learn lessons by doing. You're still going to learn lessons on your own. But hopefully some of these tips will help you sidestep some of those potholes that happen when you're first starting a business. Just stay consistent, keep at it, talk to people, tell people what you're doing, and they're going to be hopefully really excited for you, and they're going to talk about you, and it's going to be awesome. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.